Level 1. The Citizen. You wake up at 5 a.m. in a Soviet-era apartment block in Ashgabat. The walls are cracked. The water comes out brown 3 days a week. But your city looks like a science fiction movie. Outside your window, there are white marble buildings stretching in every direction. 543 of them. More white marble than any city on Earth. The streets are spotless. The cars are all white. Every single one. Black cars were banned in 2018. If you owned one, you had 30 days to repaint it or lose it. You repainted it. You always do what they say. You get dressed. You comb your hair carefully. If you're a man, your beard is shaved clean. Beards are restricted. If you're a woman, you don't wear too much makeup in public. You don't sit in the front seat of a taxi. That was banned too. You don't wear leggings. You don't dye your hair blonde. New restrictions come every few months. You don't question them. You just adjust. Unless you leave your apartment and walk to work. The streets are wide and empty. Ashgabat has 900,000 people, but it looks abandoned. That's because gathering in groups is suspicious. Standing still too long is suspicious. Taking a photograph of the wrong building is suspicious. There are police everywhere. They check your internal passport, a document you carry at all times. It notes where you live, where you work, where you're allowed to be. If you're somewhere you're not supposed to be, you have a problem. Your phone has no Instagram, no YouTube, no Facebook, no Twitter, no WhatsApp. The internet you have access to isn't the real internet. It's the Turkmenet, a government-controlled network where every website is approved, every search is monitored, and every message can be read by the Ministry of National Security. VPNs are illegal. If they find one on your phone, you can be detained. They check phones randomly on the street. You deleted yours 3 months ago after your neighbor's son was taken in for questioning and didn't come back for 2 weeks. You make 1,500 monat a month. That's about $430 on paper. But the black market exchange rate says it's closer to $85. Bread costs almost nothing because the government subsidizes it. Until 2019, your gas, water, and electricity were free. Now they're not, and your salary hasn't changed. There are food shortages. And the supermarket shelves have products with expiration dates from 2 years ago. You buy them anyway because there's nothing else. There is a curfew. 11 p.m. in the capital, 9 p.m. in some provinces. If you're caught outside, you're detained. If you're a government employee, you lose your job. You are home by 8:30 every night. You sit in your apartment and watch state television. The news shows the president doing things. Riding horses. Singing songs he wrote himself. Lifting weights. Driving race cars through the desert. Shooting targets with a gold-plated pistol from a moving bicycle. You watch all of it. You clap when you're supposed to clap. You have no choice. Level 2. The state worker. You're a teacher or a doctor or an engineer at a government plant. It doesn't matter which because they all serve the same master. The state. There is no private sector. There are no independent businesses that aren't connected to someone in the government. Your employer is the regime, and the regime expects more than work. Every autumn, you're sent to pick cotton. Teachers, doctors, nurses, engineers, all of you bust to the fields for weeks at a time. You pick by hand in the heat. If you refuse, you're fired. If you're fired, your name goes on a list. The list follows you. Your children will have trouble getting into university. Your family will have trouble getting exit visas. You pick the cotton in the spring. You're sent to clean the streets before government holidays. You scrub sidewalks on your hands and knees. You plant flowers in medians. You paint curbs. The president might drive through. Everything must be perfect. If he sees a crack in the pavement, someone loses their job. It might be you. You attend mandatory rallies, thousands of state workers in matching outfits waving flags, dancing choreographed dances in the president's honor. You smile, you wave, you chant. You do this 4 or 5 times a year. Attendance is checked. Absence is noted. Once a year, every government employee must walk a 37-kilometer trail through the mountains outside Ashgabat, the health trail. It was built specifically for this purpose. You walk it in dress shoes because nobody told you what to wear. Some of your colleagues collapse in the heat. An ambulance is parked at the end. This is considered a wellness initiative. Your salary comes late, sometimes 2 weeks late, sometimes a month. Nobody explains why. You can't complain because there's no one to complain to. The union is government controlled. The courts are government controlled. The newspaper is government controlled. There is one employer and it pays when it feels like it. Level 3. The police officer. You carry a badge that gives you power over the citizens, but someone else carries a badge that gives them power over you. The Ministry of Internal Affairs controls the 25,000 officers in the National Police. Your job is to maintain order. Order means whatever the government decides it means this week. This week it means checking phones at random checkpoints. You stop people on the street. You ask for their internal passport. You look through their phone for VPN apps, for photos of government buildings, for messages that criticize the president. Last month you found a video on a teenager's phone. A clip from a foreign news report about food shortages in Turkmenistan. The boy said his friend sent it to him. You confiscated the phone. You filed a report. You don't know what happened to the boy. You don't ask. You enforce the car color laws. You pull over vehicles that aren't white. You enforce the curfew. You detain people caught outside after hours. You enforce dress codes. Women with cosmetic procedures, men with beards. You fine them. Sometimes you detain them. The real money isn't in your salary. It's in bribes. Every traffic stop is an opportunity. Every document check is a negotiation. The citizens know this. They carry extra cash. You take your cut and report only what you have to. Your superiors take their cut from you. It goes all the way up. Everyone eats from the same table. But you are always one bad day away from the other side of the cell. Ministers get fired on live television. Generals get demoted overnight. A police chief in your district was arrested last year. No trial, no lawyer, no explanation. He simply stopped existing. That could be you. That could be anyone. Level 4, the secret police. You work for the Ministry of National Security, the MNS. It used to be called the KNB, and before that it was the KGB. The name changed. The methods didn't. Your agency employs thousands of officers and tens of thousands of informants. Your job is to monitor the population for signs of disloyalty. You recruit university students to report on their classmates. What do they talk about? Do they criticize the government? Do they practice religion outside approved channels? Do they access foreign websites? You maintain a network of informants in every ministry, every factory, every school. Neighbors report on neighbors. Colleagues report on colleagues. Families report on families. You manage a blacklist of 16,000 citizens who are banned from leaving the country. Journalists, activists, former officials who fell out of favor, their children, their spouses. You can add names to this list. You can show up at their homes at any hour. You can search their belongings. You can take their phones, their computers, their passports. You don't need a warrant. Warrants are for countries with functioning courts. You monitor the returning migrant workers who come back from Turkey and Russia. You confiscate their devices at the border. You search for evidence that they spoke to foreign journalists or opposition groups. If you find something, they disappear into the system. Closed trial, no lawyer. Sentences of 10, 15, 17 years. Nobody hears about it. The journalist Ogosapar Muradova was arrested. She died in custody. The official cause was suicide. The unofficial cause was something the government will never admit. You know what really happened. Everyone in the ministry knows. Nobody says a word. Level 5. You're the regional governor. You're a hakim, a governor of one of the 5 provinces. You were appointed by the president. You serve at his pleasure. His pleasure changes often. You're responsible for everything in your province. Agriculture, education, infrastructure, security. When the cotton harvest is bad, it's your fault. When the streets aren't clean enough for a presidential visit, it's your fault. When food shortages spark quiet complaints in the bazaars, it's your fault. You've watched the president fire governors on live television. He calls them into the State Security Council meeting. The cameras are rolling. State TV broadcasts it to every screen in the country. He reads their failures from a folder. He lectures them. He strips their rank. He orders their arrest. You've seen men you've worked with for 20 years escorted out of the room by guards on camera. But the president fired a minister on television and demoted him from colonel to major in front of the nation for serious shortcomings in his work. No further explanation. The man disappeared. You attended his birthday dinner 3 months before. You manage your province carefully. You report good numbers. You hide bad numbers. You ensure that every rally is well attended. You ensure that every building is freshly painted before a presidential visit. You send gifts to the capital, and you maintain relationships with the people around the president. You survive not by excelling, but by not drawing attention. Level 6. The Inner Circle Minister. You sit in the cabinet, deputy chairman of the Council of Ministers. There are 9 of you. You were appointed by the president. You can be dismissed with a single sentence. Your job is to manage a portfolio, but your real job is to manage the president's expectations. You bring only good news. You never contradict. Yet you never suggest that a policy isn't working. You never show independent thought. Independent thought is a death sentence for your career, and possibly for your freedom. You've seen what happens. Akmamed Rahmano, Interior Minister, fired for corruption. Ovesgeldi Ataev, Speaker of Parliament, closed-door trial, prison. Akhmarad Rejepov, head of the Presidential Security Service, vanished. These were powerful men, more powerful than you. They're gone. You attend the weekly cabinet meetings. The president sits at the head of the table. He lectures. You take notes. He assigns impossible tasks. You say yes. He asks for updates. You give optimistic reports. This is how you survive. This is how everyone in this room survives. Your salary is modest by government standards. But your real wealth comes from the system. Every contract in your ministry flows through you. Construction, imports, telecommunications, every deal has a percentage. That percentage is how the machine runs. How the president knows. He allows it because the alternative is chaos. But if he ever needs a scapegoat, your wealth becomes evidence of your corruption. The system that made you rich is the same system that can put you in prison. Level 7. The Arkadag's son. You are Serdar Berdimuhamedov, President of Turkmenistan. You won the 2022 election with 73% of the vote. There were no real opponents. There were no international monitors who considered it legitimate. You are the president because your father decided you would be. You sit in the presidential palace, you sign decrees, you chair meetings, you appear on state television cutting ribbons and inspecting military parades. But everyone in this country knows the truth. You are not the man in charge. Your father created a new position for himself when he handed you the presidency. Chairman of the People's Council with the title National Leader of the Turkmen People. His council has the power to overrule your decisions, amend the constitution, and oversee every branch of government. On paper, you outrank him. In reality, he outranks everyone who has ever lived in this country. You are a placeholder, a face on a screen, a name on a decree that someone else wrote. You attend events, you read speeches, you play the role. One day, perhaps the power will truly be yours, or perhaps it won't. That's not your decision to make. Level 8. The Protector. Kyur Gurbanguly Berdimuhamedov. The Arkadag. The Protector. Former President, current Supreme Authority. Before that, you were a dentist. Before that, you were nobody. You took power in 2006 when the first president, Saparmurat Niyazov, died of heart failure. Niyazov was the man who renamed the months after himself and his mother. The man who replaced the word for bread with his mother's name. The man who wrote a book and told his people that God promised heaven to anyone who read it. The man who built a 75-meter golden statue of himself that rotated to always face the sun. You dismantled some of his excesses. You restored the calendar. You brought back the original names. You reopened the opera. But you didn't dismantle the system. You perfected it. You built your own personality cult. You wrote books about horses, medicine, tea. State media calls you a prophet of health and wisdom. You built a city and named it Arkadag after your own title. You erected a gold statue of yourself on top of a horse made of marble. You control the 4th largest natural gas reserves on Earth. Billions of dollars flow through pipelines to China. Those billions don't reach the people. The average salary is $85 a month at real exchange rates. 1 in 3 families lives below the poverty line. But Ashgabat gleams with white marble, and the statues are always freshly gilded. You gave your people free gas and electricity for decades. Then you took it away. You gave them food subsidies. Then you reduced them. You gave them passports to travel. Then you created an exit visa system and a blacklist of 30,000 people who can never leave. Your secret police monitor every phone call, every text message, every prayer in every mosque. Your informants sit in every office and every classroom. Your prisons hold political opponents who have been there so long the world has forgotten their names. Some of them were your allies once. Some of them helped you take power. None of that matters now. You appear on television riding a white stallion through a field. You appear at a concert singing a song you wrote. You appear at a shooting range hitting every target while generals applaud. You once fell off a horse during a race and your security forces confiscated every camera in the crowd. The footage still leaked. You never spoke about it. You are 67 years old. You have ruled this country for 19 years. Your son sits in your chair, but everyone kneels to you. The gas keeps flowing. The marble keeps gleaming. The statues keep watching. And somewhere in Ashgabat, in a Soviet-era apartment with cracked walls and brown water, a citizen wakes up at 5 a.m. He combs his hair carefully. He checks that his beard is shaved clean. He makes sure his car is white. He leaves his phone at home because they might check it today. He walks through the most beautiful, empty city in the world, and past marble towers and golden statues, and he says nothing. He has never said anything. He never will. The cycle continues.